Hello, amazing parents and caretakers, and welcome to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. I'm your family empowerment coach, Celia Kibler. I'm a mom of a blended family of 5 kids. I'm a grandma of 9 kids, an author, a teacher, a speaker, and a consultant with over 40 years of training and real-life parenting experience. I'm here to offer you practical, doable tips, strategies, and techniques that will pump up your parenting skills and create peace, love, and laughter throughout your family. In addition, I'll be interviewing some great humans that are on a mission to make your life a better, happier, and healthier life. So let's not waste any time and get started with the next episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. Thanks for listening. And now, the one, the only, the impact motivator, the person who, he is my brother separated at birth, except that I graduated high school, or was it college? High school, when he was born. So we had we had a time expanse there, but he is my person. I adore this human. I mean, Rock is my husband, but CL is and he has a beautiful wife. But not Rock. Rock does have a beautiful wife, me. CL has a beautiful wife. Anyway, I want to introduce you to CL, and there's not enough time to tell you all what I think of him. All good things. But he is a man of faith. He is a husband. He is a father of 7, a grandfather of 10, a best-selling author, an award-winning motivational speaker, master life coach, podcast host, and founder of Impacting Life 24/7. And what he'll be talking about is parenting with consistency in the midst of constant change. In a world where change is inevitable, maintaining consistency as a parent can feel overwhelming. In this session, CL King shares powerful strategies for staying grounded and intentional, even when life throws curveballs, and he knows a lot about that. Drawing from personal experience and years of mentoring families, he offers practical tools to help parents create stability, build trust, and raise resilient children, no matter what life brings. You can land on your feet. You can take over the adversity. What is it? CL King, come on down and join the International Day of Calm.
Well, good morning, Celia. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Or good afternoon, I guess.
What afternoon? It's 2 o'clock. We're a little late.
I've been rolling.
I forgot to run your video. Hold it. Peace.
Okay.
Video.
Welcome to the International Day of Calm Summit.
And now we can talk.
Wow. Yeah, I love that intro.
I know. I kind of love it too.
That intro. Yeah, who gave you that those intro points? Because I didn't send any.
Oh, I came to me. Somebody sent it.
You just did it off your head.
We made it up.
That's funny.
Ask Zar. Zar just hands me things.
She probably did. Yeah.
Here are my things.
I love it. I've become intentional about not even wanting introductions anymore.
Oh, it was Zar. She admitted it.
It
was her.
And I purposely, I think I sent that I was a man of faith, husband, father, and grandfather, and that's it. Anything else really is kind of like, okay, whatever.
Well,
All
I'm
right.
so glad you're here. And I can't even tell you. And you've been through a lot, and I'm so glad you're able to be here with us. And I just can't wait for your talk. And it's always so powerful and so inspiring. And I hope Sarah's still here. Oh, she is still here because she was saying she didn't like consistency. So good, Sarah. Look, CL's going to tell you all about it. So, CL, I hand you the stage.
Thank you so much, Celia, and thank you, everybody. I've been part of this now for the 3, 4 years, and absolutely love Celia. She was just with me several weeks ago for my 50th birthday celebration, and that was our first time meeting.
Oh,
That was
yeah, that's right.
yeah, first
In all
time
these
meeting
years.
in person. We have been on podcasts together. I mean, all kind of virtual things, connecting, book launches, book readings. I mean, everything. And I was just like, when I saw her in the room, I'm 6'3", and I scooped that little lady up so big because it meant the world to me. And it was like really a kind of like the culmination of what the fulfillment of relationship is really all about. Sarah, weren't they talking about the nature and out in the trees and stuff? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember my wife and I, our kids are not little anymore, but we still have two adult kids here and my granddaughter here at the house. And every now and then, my wife and I will sneak away to Norfolk, Virginia, and in Norfolk, there's a tree there that is the largest tree there, and its circumference is 235 inches, and it's 40 feet tall. And I've done as a motivator, I've done videos in front of that tree, and it's just so massive and so powerful, and yet so calming too. So I really that your session really resonated with me. I think the gentleman that was with you was talking about trees and his grandfather kind of taking on a role, that connection there with the tree. And so it just kind of illuminated that thought in my mind. And we all in this journey of life really have to find those things that help us tap into reaching our better selves and reaching our calmer selves, because that's what this day is really about. It's about being calm. And I probably am the most uncalm speaker you would ever meet, because I mean, I jump off of stages, my veins are popping out in my neck and screaming at the top of my lungs. But those days have been put on pause, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, this is my first public event since September of last year. My first public event since September of last year. September of last year changed everything for me in the world of everything. I mean, I was hospitalized. It was really like I was on my way out of this earth. My kidneys had failed, and my wife and I spent nearly 20 days in the hospital. They were trying to get me diagnosed and couldn't figure it out. Was it pancreatitis? Was it colitis? Was it this, that, and the other, blood coming out? I mean, it was a very, very rough time. And then they got me well enough to see my son off to the Army. And then a month later, I was back in the hospital. And that was just, it was like, man, the wheels are falling off this wagon. And so, I'm a foster kid. And one of the things that's the tagline in my book is the statement my foster mother always made: no matter the adversity, you still can make it. And so I actually have had to live that truthfully, without reservation, for the last 6 or 7 months. Then at the end of the year, I got a colonoscopy done finally. And they found out that I had Crohn's disease, which is probably why I've had all these manifestations of sicknesses for so long. And I've just have pushed through. I mean, the last public event I did, I had did 8 events in that week, and I had spoke the last night. I had spoke 3 times in a county jail an hour away, and I was feeling like death warmed over. And my vice president was with me, and I said, I don't know how I'm going to even get home, brother, because I can't even drive. And I think I just got home on faith, and and then my anniversary was coming up, so I couldn't go in the hospital then. So we did a little pre-anniversary tour up in Norfolk, and it was so bad that we couldn't leave the parking garage for several hours. I tried to drive home with me and my wife, and she had to drive, and she drove me directly to the ER. That's kind of what started this whole thing. So when I say about, the titles and the acclaim and pedigree and all the stuff I've done, yeah, man, it's cool to say I've spoken to over 1 million people around the world. But who really cares if you ain't here to speak to the people that matter most, right? And yes, those people who I was speaking to in front of them at the moment mattered, but the people that are in this room right now, the people who are in my environment, my very small circle, those people truly matter. And the people who were at my birthday party, like Celia, you matter if you're there at the big 50. So I'm going to talk to you today for just a few moments. I'm a father, a husband, a man of faith, but I'm a father of 7 children. And I would like you to know now that I have mastered everything there is to know about parenting. That's it. I'm the foremost expert on anything associated with parenting consistently, right? When people bring you in, they expect you to be the subject matter expert, the SME. And truthfully, it is like a parallel journey with you and your children. And it's like you're building the plane as you fly it, right? But now being 50, with my oldest kid being 32, and my youngest just getting his base house in Texas, married with his wife coming to him there in Fort Hood, Texas. I've had a time to reflect on all the mistakes I made in parenting. And I said, Celia, why didn't you come into my life sooner? Why did you come into my life sooner, Celia? I would have been such a much better parent. But one thing that I did have found over the years of reflection, my granddaughter's with us now. My 1-year-old, 2-year-old granddaughter is going to be 3 in September. So I'm getting to show Mariah, my daughter, her mother, how grandparents get to spoil their kids. But I'm also getting to give Mariah nuggets about, hey man, you're gonna have to be consistent in this area. Why? Because change is inevitable. It doesn't matter whether you want it to happen or not. I didn't want to wake up one day and be 50. I thought it was cool to be 25. And then everybody would say to me, I got a child your age. So I'm like, well, I need to be older. Now that I'm 50, I'm like, man, I'm an old man. Nobody even picks me on the basketball court when I go out there to play. Everything changes. Everything is changing. And the thing that we have to realize is we have control over this thing called consistency. Doesn't necessarily mean we get it right every time, but it does mean that we can put effort into that thing called consistency. So imagine if you walk into a room and the floor is moving, or it feels like it's moving every time you take a step. Imagine doing that, how creeped out you will be, number one, and how inconsistent that feels. Well, that's what inconsistency feels to a child. Scary, unpredictable. It's hard to trust a moving floor. Are you following me? And so we've got to understand that consistency in parenting creates and breeds security. And of all things we want our children to feel, we want them to feel secure. Listen, I didn't get those feelings when I was a kid. One day when we can talk again, I was raised in abuse, foster care, homelessness for 18 years. So it was a very rough childhood. I think one of the things that taught me in my childhood from experiencing all of that is what not to do as a parent. I didn't want my kids to feel what I felt. And so surely security is important. Children thrive, ladies and gentlemen, on predictability. It allows their brains to relax and grow if we breed in them predictability. Because life when it's unpredictable, and it very well is. Like, you plan a birthday party with all of the kids and you got all the outside decorations, and guess what? Storm clouds roll in. You looked at your app, you looked at the phone, nowhere in the forecast was it rain. Yet nature is even unpredictable, right? So we can't control that, but we can control how consistent we are in the midst of change and things that are unpredictable. Parenting provides, when you're consistent in your parenting, it provides a safe harbor for your child, provides a safe harbor. And so, think about this. I remember bedtime routines, and it's crazy that my kids, who are now all adults with families of their own, they bring this up with a high degree of frequency about when I would put them to bed and I would raise the covers up and they'd run out from up under the covers, and I'd raise the blankets back up and they'd run back up under there, and I'd do it over and over and over, and they just absolutely loved it. Well, they were young. They were little, 5, 6, 7 years old, and now they're in their 20s and 30s, and they remember that. Why? Because I did it all the time, And so it's like, when we have the same routine, like, for example, bath, book, and bed, when we have that same routine, a child's brains begins to associate, right, that rhythm with safety. Oh, I'm feeling something good now. They get that rhythm with safety, rest, and closure. You feel? Now, I probably hyped my kids up too much at bedtime because I'm a hype kind of guy. This is very sedate for me in a presentation, but that's just because I'm learning to get my strength back, and I don't have a lot of endurance like I used to. So it's a slow climb to be the impact motivator, but I'm so glad to be here nonetheless. Now, if you disrupt that pattern repeatedly, guess what happens? You create this room and opportunity for chaos to creep in. Yeah, I said it in the statement. It creates a rhythm with safety, rest, and closure. A rhythm. My son, Chris Jr., is a drummer in the United States Army. I started teaching him how to play the drums at 2 years old. And all my kids play music and sing, etc. But he was the one who stuck with the drums. And rhythm, or rudiments, are important. He learned how to do all of the rudiments in drumming by starting out slow, one little thing at a time, and consistently doing it every day. When he would play those drums, we would hear his name in our house, Chris, because he would bang them all the time. It drove my wife up the wall. But I was like, son, one day these are going to put food on your table. And they are, because of the rhythm, the rudiment, the pattern, the consistency that he learned how to do. He learned how to do it slow, then he learned how to do it with his eyes closed. Are you following me? So think about this as you as a parent, you as a person. What is one area that that your child can always count on you for? Where they know that the rules will never change. They know that the landscape will never change. That's just mom and dad. I know that's consistency. They might see all the world around them swirling around in this whirlpool of inconsistency. But what is something that you think about, that you did as a parent, that you do as a parent, that your child knew would never change? I'd be interested to know what those things are, because I'm gonna tell you this right now. For me, I had to always be mindful of that, because it was a challenge. Sometimes life gets lifing, doesn't it? Dinner together is a great example. Yes, we used to do that. We had a gigantic, until I moved to the ranch and my kids were on their way out, we had this gigantic dining room table, because 8 people sitting at the table. It was like, the Lord, I'm sitting here at the king's table. And we sat down and we listened to their day. Everybody went around the table and they would tell us about their day. That was those moments are embossed, and they're embossed in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, we sat down at the dinner, and that's important. Now we eat dinner in our rooms, on our phone, on the go. You know what I'm saying? But those predictable moments were very, very essential. I want you to understand that there's a myth of perfection. There's a myth of being perfect, but there's power in predictability. Okay, let's dispel the myth of perfection. All right, because life changes, jobs change, right? People change, schools close, teachers move on, kids get their heart broken, girls lose their boyfriend, illnesses happens, relationships shift. Homes can be affected by all this external chaos, can they not? It does. And so here's one truth that I've discovered at 50 years old. Should have discovered it at 19 when I first became a parent. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean perfection. It means predictability in presence, boundaries, and love. Predictability in presence, boundaries, and love. Okay, so I want you to understand it. We're going to kind of put three pillars here. Like, where are your PowerPoints, King? I remember I was given a session one time. I don't hardly ever do PowerPoints, not because they're not good, love them. But I was given a PowerPoint one time to a bunch of educators, and I did my evaluation at the end, and one of the educators said, "You misspelled something on your PowerPoint." So I've been shell-shocked for 25 years. I don't do PowerPoints in public, hardly ever. So forgive me, I have to be the PowerPoint. So I'll make animations for you. But I want you to understand some three pillars. Presence, that means presence, right? Showing up emotionally, even when you can't show up physically. Like Sadie Bug, my youngest granddaughter, she knows when you're not necessarily being present with her. You see, like if you're like, yeah, Sadie, yeah, Sadie, yeah, Sadie. She's like, no, sit down on the floor with me. I'm like, really? There's a long way down there, Sadie. You closer to the floor than I am. But I got to connect with her emotionally. You follow what I'm saying? That's important to put your emotions into that connection. That's important. Presence. Don't be, when she's ready to play blocks, I can't be playing blocks and on my phone at the same time. All right, Sadie, you pull this one and let me go over here and check my, no. You gotta be connected emotionally. And that's important. Number two is boundaries. Boundaries are everywhere. Somebody thinks that boundary sounds like a cuss word. No, it's not. That's not a bad word. Listen to me. When you leave your house, you are governed by boundaries everywhere. Right? There's lines on the road, they speak boundaries. There's red octagon signs, they speak boundaries. There's lights that change every now and then, those speak boundaries. There's white signs with numbers on them telling you how fast. Are you following me? Boundaries are everywhere, and it's important that we teach healthy boundaries to our kids, not moving the line just because we're tired or overwhelmed. Right. You know what I'm saying? Not moving the line just because the circumstances may not fit our particular moment. Oh, I'm so tired. This is the line, but I'm tired and I'm whatever, right? Or I want me time, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to have our own time. My wife and I started building that into our relationship as we went on, because when you're raising your kids, you feel like you're elbows deep into everything they're doing, soccer, band, this, that, and the other. But one thing is for sure, we had to have some time, like this is our time. Boundaries are important, and you can't move the goalpost. The goalpost is the goalpost. And when you show children that, it's not compromise in terms of like, okay, today I'm going to say yes, tomorrow I'm going to say no. Today I'm going to say yes. Tomorrow, no. Erase it. Get this thought in your mind. The goalpost is there because it takes 100 yards to get there, right? In football, you don't move the goalpost to the 50-yard line because that's not a complete touchdown. Are you following me? To get a goal kicked through the goalpost, you must first traverse the 100 yards. It's 100 yards no matter what arena you're playing in. Are you feeling me? You don't go to where does Celia? She's in Baltimore somewhere, right? You don't go up to the Washington DC football team and their field goal post is at the 25-yard line but the Carolina Panthers, where I'm at, the goalpost is in the end zone. No, 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 no. The goalpost stays the same, and that's important. That's why boundaries are key. Follow through. Watch this. Follow through is important. If you say it, do it. If you promise it, honor it. Right? My daughter, I think, still remembers the time. I don't know if I ever paid up. I've paid up a bazillion times over on this one, but I think I told her about if we get on this big roller coaster, and I kind of swindled her into getting on it. I was scared too, but I said, if you get on it, I'll give you $50. And I mean, she might have been 8 or 9 or 10. I don't remember how old she was, but to this day, she's like, Dad, I never got my $50. And I'm like, girl, I done gave you 550 million. What are you talking about? Okay, so I forgot the $50. But guess what? That was important. Did you hear me? That was important. That was important to her. That she remembers that more than anything. Was he consistent in what he said? Did he follow through? Or did he just make a statement that he had no intentions of following through on? Wow. I need to go cash app her $50, don't I? So, here's a situation like, for example, if a mom, her work shift changes, right? And her time with her kid is cut short. Here's some ways that you can, a thought process that you can inject consistency and follow through. Let your kid know, hey, let her son know, listen, I want you to know, son, that even though my time is different, we are still going to have our 10-minute morning talks. Make that because her presence and predictability is essential. It's important, and it remains. So your son knows that even though things have changed, and somebody said, "Yup, pay up." I didn't pay up. I said she's in the good. I don't owe her nothing, but I should do that just to surprise her. Even though things are changing, even with mom or with dad, that doesn't mean, what does it speak to the child? That you're that important, that even though I've got to navigate the changes around that work has got me going through, you're important enough to continue to show up and be predictable. So you can be predictable without being perfect. You follow me? Being predictable without being perfect. Like I say, oh, that's mom or that's dad. That's important. Strategies for consistency in an unpredictable world. Let me give you a couple. Look, I'm old school. I use paper still for my notes. I've never been able to talk. To this day, I've given, I can't tell you how many always come with the paper. So it feels good to be actually to do this. Yeah, I should just send it randomly, huh? Yeah, that's good. Good idea. Just like, why did you send me this $50? From when you were 8, remember? Create anchors. Okay. I was born in February. I guess they say my sign is Aquarius. I don't know. I guess I can swim somewhat, but anchors are important in sea navigation, right? Anchors are essential. Well, anchors are daily rituals that your child can rely on. So create them. Create anchors that are rituals that your child can rely on. And, what would be some examples of those types of anchors? A morning hug, or asking them what's their plan for their day. We had gotten into this, and we had did it for quite some time. We would put, because we had like this assembly line of lunch boxes back in the days, right? And we would put little sticky notes in their lunch, and we did it for a long time. I don't know how we got away from it, but man, consistency, right? But we would put notes in there. My wife would do it. She would do it for me. I'd do it for her. And our kids remember that. They say, and I saw Mariah packing Sadie's lunch to go to her nanny's. And guess what she did? She put a little sticky note in. I mean, Sadie can't even read, but she put a little sticky note with a heart and a message to Sadie Bug. And I said, wow, she remembered how important that anchor was. Or how about Friday night pizza night? That's a good anchor, or something healthy for me because I couldn't eat pizza. I love to eat a pizza about the size of a trash can lid, but my condition won't let me. Or the Saturday night game hour, something where it's an anchor. Bam! No matter what storm comes, when an anchor is dropped, no matter what's happening around the ship might get tossed to and fro, but it's not going to be pulled back out to sea because it's anchored. And that's really important. Create those anchors, traditions. Absolutely. Our family traditions become their family. It's so true. So true. And I hope that they pick those up. Those anchors are important. Repetition becomes reassurance. Say that with me. Repetition becomes reassurance. When you're injecting these positive repetitions, these rudiments into your kid's life, it builds reassurance, man. They come to expect it, right? With so many news stories out there of, whatever. There's so much negativity in the world. You don't have to go far to find it. But man, when we get that opportunity, we don't have to be superheroes. We come in, Cape Crusaders, da, 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 da. No. Just those little things of repetition. That's why I say, like, when you're working out, don't start out saying, I'm gonna bench 375 pounds. I can't even go to the gym right now. But when I go back, I'm going to be lifting the old man weights, right? The 15-pound dumbbells. That's what I'm going to be doing, right? Put all my pride to the side. Why? Because it's about being able to be consistent, not being some superhero. You follow that? And so don't make something so grandiose that you can't follow through with it. I'm going to read to you 17, nursery rhymes at nighttime, at bedtime. No, I can only read you one, Sadie Bug, and she wants to keep on getting it, right? She wants to keep on reading it. Look, we have this thing here. I am an object guy. I used to be a children's pastor, right? So we have this little thing here. Y'all know it. Look at this. Let me see if I can put it up there so you can see it. Oh, my screen is blurred, but it's the little Jack in the Box. Pop goes the weasel, right? Well, anyway, Sadie Bug wants to do Pop Goes the Weasel 450 times before bedtime, right? And I'm like, we're gonna have to cut it short. We're gonna have to cut it short. Just one more. She's just like, one more time. And that's important. It has built reassurance in Sadie that nighttime is a good time. It's not a stressful time. I want you to envision 3 C's. One of them, Celia, is a C, but I'm going to help you remember these 3 C's and think of Celia when you think of the 3 C's: calm, clear, and consistent. Did love notes for my girls in their school lunch right up until they graduated. See, that is beautiful. Also told them I believe in you. My middle daughter has it tattooed on her wrist. How powerful. My goodness, how powerful. Yeah, I need to go back and write some makeup notes for my, right. But 3 C's, calm, clear, and consistent, okay? One of the things I talk about is breathing. Now, I'm no expert in that arena, but I have gotten a powerful revelation about the human breath, right? It's very, very important. Breathe before responding, okay? In other words, being calm. Breathe before responding because emotions are contagious. Sometimes Sadie Bug will say to me, and I'm talking about my granddaughter because she just happens to live with us. Out of the 11, she got the checkbook right now because she's here with us, right? But sometimes she'll say, "Papa, are you okay? Papa, are you sad?" And I'm just like, how did she pick that up? So I got to change the energy when I'm dealing with her, right? I got to change it because they pick up on it. And so breathe before you respond. The human breath weighs less than 0.125 liters, right? And yet it is the most powerful thing you have. When they was giving me my colonoscopy as I was getting wheeled in there, here is Mr. Impact Motivator trying to sound all calm and talk to the doctors and the staff. And I was nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof, right? Because these people put you to sleep. And the heart machine was racing, beep, 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 beep. And you know what the anesthesiologist said? He said, Mr. King, you're going to have to breathe. And when I started breathing, my heart rate slowed. Breathing, oh man, it's power. I feel Jesus on that one. The breathing is powerful, right? And so before you respond, just breathe. Don't huff, because that might be considered breathing. Don't do that. Just breathe. Be clear. The second C is clear. Be specific. Celia teaches this. You need to go to bed by 8. Don't say, get ready for bed. No, you need to be in bed by 8. Be clear, because clarity is important. Clarity is important with children. It's important that you're clear, because if you say get ready for bed, then they're going to be playing their Xbox, and you're going to come in there and say, why ain't you in the bed? Well, you said get ready for bed. You didn't say get in the bed, right? So being clear with children is very important. And the last one is consequent. Okay. So in other words, there's cause and effects in everything, right? And we got to teach that. I think it's important that our children know that if you do X, Y will happen, and stick with that. If you do A, B will happen, and stick with that. It doesn't necessarily mean that consequences has to be a looming, dark, scary word. Okay. If you get the honor roll, if you go on the roller coaster, you get $50, and I'm going to send Mariah after this thing. I'm going to send her $50. I'm telling you what, God's done convicted me. So it's important. These 3 C's, in other words, be calm, be clear, and help them understand that life is made up of consequences, both good and bad. Change is coming, and help them prepare for transition. That's important. Okay. Those transitions from elementary to middle school, oh Jesus, and then those middle school to high school transition, they metamorphosize into different people. I don't know what happens, but help them through those transitions, because they're very important. Talk about it. And Celia talks about this. She teaches this. Involve your kids. Have a board meeting with your children. Give them voice and give them options when it comes to within the structure of change. Help them with that. Like, hey, we're moving next month. I remember when we moved from Newport, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Jeremiah was a young kid. He was young. And when we announced it to the kids, you know what he did? He went and packed him a little bag, a book bag, and said he was going to stay with Uncle Francis. He didn't want to move from Newport. It was the cutest thing, right? So he was heartbroken, And I said, man, we need to bring him in on this whole thing. So we took him to the new house and showed him his big room, and he received it a little better. He didn't run away, so thank God. But it was the cutest thing. We'll never forget. He packed his bag. He was out. But involving your kids is important. This is something that you can tell that I've followed and read Celia's information and teachings, because that's important. Getting their opinion. And today, guess what? Now my older kids seek my opinion, and we do things collaboratively. This is something that we tried to do. We didn't master it. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes when I was in the Marine Corps, it was my way or the highway. That's when I needed Celia Kibler in my life, right? And so you just involve them and prepare them for transitions. Let's hasten to a close, ladies and gentlemen. Modeling and repair. Modeling and repair. I want to talk to you about that. Listen to this. You are not a robot. Sometimes you're going to forget a routine, right? Life is going to hit hard. When I was hospitalized recently, it was like everything in my house came to a screeching halt. My 2 adult daughters are here and Sadie is here. And so my wife dropped everything. She didn't go to work. She never left the hospital. She was there with me the entire time, because it was touch and go there for a minute. A lot of people didn't know that, that CL King was about to check out of here. Life happens, and we have to show grace when life happens, and we have to show how we can need some grace sometimes when life happens. But that doesn't disqualify you. It doesn't disqualify you as a parent. What makes you a better parent is, and what makes the difference is how you repair things. When you model something and it falls apart, how you repair it, how you fix it, how you get back on task. I tell Mariah this often, and she quotes it to me when I'm off my wagon. She says, "Dad, there's always a Monday in the week." And we talk about that, whether it is getting back on our diet, going back to the gym, whatever it is, giving a on ramp to repair. Are you following that? That's very important. And teach this, in terms of teaching this to your kids. Let them see and hear you do this A word: apologize. I never heard apologies, but I mean, I was a foster kid most of my life. But amongst the short times I lived with my parents, never heard of anybody that was an adult apologizing. Show your kids that you own your mistakes. I've done that a whole lot more now that I'm an adult too. To tell my kids, man, I jacked up a lot of things, y'all, and I apologize. Be honest. Tell them, hey, man, this week was rough. This was a tough week, y'all. Sorry. I used to tell them we had three kinds of money in the house. There was the money that we there was the money that we didn't want to spend. There was the money that we couldn't spend. And there was the money that we didn't have to spend, right? So we had three kinds. And they'd be like, "Dad, what money arena are we in right now?" I'm like, "Y'all, we're top ramen this week, baby." But just be honest and tell them that it was a rough week. Let them see your commitment versus your perfection. And so, a little exercise, if you're thinking about how can I apply this, just a small exercise, where you could say, even when my life shifts, my love, boundaries, and presence will stay steady. Write that somewhere and put it up so your kids can see it. Even when life shifts, my love, boundaries, and presence will stay steady. And so you don't have to be perfect to be a parent, just present and a predictable one. That's important. Second, anchors, routines, and repair will carry your family through seasons of change. When the winds blow, man, be an anchor. And last but not least, as a parent, realize this: you are enough. You are enough. Consistency is about the love that you show up with, even when plans fall apart. The love is consistent. And so think about this. What is one thing that maybe you could do differently after our time together? What is something that you could inject into your time, or maybe even teach your kids if you don't have any kids at the house? I'm working on this stuff still as a grandparent. Like, okay, let me be. And so I want to thank you guys for giving me this grand opportunity to be with you. It has truly been an honor. It's my privilege to be with Celia. She means the world to me. She knows what she means to me. And thank you for giving me this platform to come back in public again. I love you.
I love you too. And I'm so glad you came back in public here, because you always are inspiring and full of wisdom, and you always give people hope for better. You fall on your feet, you can get back up again. Any adversity, you can conquer it. And if you want CL's book, it's Who Ate My Brownie. It's amazing. It's on Amazon. And I think you can even order it directly from you and get it signed. Is that right, CL?
I've gotten out the distribution business. That was killing me, boy.
Oh,
Whew.
yeah, I bet it was. So just go to Amazon and buy it.
Yeah, Amazon is so
It's
much
worth
easier.
every penny.
Amazon is so much easier now because you're bringing in so many books, making sure you get them out, sending them to the wrong address.
Yeah.
I'll probably start that again, but not till I'm clear to be full time again. So
Yeah. Go to Amazon and get it. And Ernalee says, what a wonderful presentation. And Michelle had a few questions about parenting. Michelle, I'm going to gift you a parenting call. And if you send me a message, we will get on the phone because these questions of how to help you and your husband, how to get your husband on board with certain things. I hope you recognize that neither I or CL can just give you one tip. That is not going to fix the core problem. What you're seeing are symptoms. And that's why I try to tell people they're symptoms of something deeper. So, if you'd like, I will gift you a coaching call where we can talk about all this and help you through these challenges you're having with your husband.
Great answer. I would take that coaching call today.
It's always open to you. And send your lovely daughter the $50 and say for
it's
Harley
funny.
and I both
Isn't that funny
agreed
that
you need to send $50.
isn't that funny that out of the thousands that this girl that got hooked me out of, she remembers
They remember.
that $50, they remember that $50, right?
They will hold you to it to your grave.
I will not be
on your gravestone. It'll say, "Sure, try to get off of giving me $50, will you?"
Oh man. Okay. Well, God bless you guys.
I'm still getting my 50. That's what's going to say on your gravestone. I'm still getting my 50, Dad.
I'm gonna make it a big deal. That's a good idea, Miss Shannon. I'm gonna make it a big deal. I appreciate that. Good deal.
Yeah. Have a party. Oh yeah, wrap it up fancy. I love that. Well, thank you, CL. I know you need to go rest now. I adore you, and I'm so grateful that you took time out of your busy healing life to come here full of energy. That's why they don't let him. I mean, you should see him when he was like full on energy. I mean, this is like mild manners, CL King. Go back and watch like last year and the year before. Well, I love you. Tell your lovely bride and your daughter and little Sadie Bug, give them all hugs from Gammon. Of course, your wife doesn't have to call me Gammon, but all right. See you soon. Thank you for listening to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. If this episode was helpful to you, please share it with a friend and leave us a review that will help others. Wonder why kids don't come with a manual? Well, wonder no more, because I wrote you one, and it's just won a wonderful Mom's Choice Award. Go to celiasbooks.com and buy your copy of Raising Happy Toddlers, as well as my children's books. I appreciate you being part of my mission to help 10 million parents stop yelling at their kids. Please be intentional and hug on those kids of yours. See you at the next episode.